So CA just dropped a video with some vague details about the Ogres, Khorne and Greenskins DLC. Here comes the bits worth knowing about. Well, we got our first sort of look at Gorbad Ironclaw, although only in some kind of early looking concept art, so I guess that's not finalized yet. Kind of weird we haven't seen him in-game as we have the others, but I guess it's good they're taking their time with it. They talked about his mechanic, which is potentially going to be called the Plan. This is probably best explained by the dev in the video.
Which is a feature around Gorbad experimenting with what different units in the roster can he pull together, and if those form a plan in his head, he can then create a unique strategy around them. So it might be, send out some goblins in front of the archers and they can pick up the arrows. And it's like, well, now you've got a way to regenerate your ammunition during the battle because he's got arrow catchers, go in and get it. Or maybe it's a more campaign-focused thing of like, what if I bring loads of wolf riders? Then I can do better raiding. So it's all ideas around experiment with your army, what units you bring, and that can have both campaign and battle interactions to make him quite different.
So there it is. I really like the idea of this. It sounds pretty damn good. I can't quite imagine how it's going to work, though. I guess maybe there'll be like a big table of possible effects of different unit combinations. And if you bring said combination, you'll get the effects. And the more of certain units you bring, maybe it'll amplify the effects. I have no idea, but I like it. They also went on to mention one of the new units, which will be a Savage Orc Shaman, although Loremaster Asotek says it should be called a Savage Orc Great Shaman because it's a lord and not a hero, but this will be nice for all those Savage Orc armies in Wurzag campaigns that end up with a normal Orc war boss lord, which doesn't really fit the theme, so that'll be a nice addition. But the real question is, will he just have the big war or little war, or will he get some unique spellbook? I'm hoping he does. Maybe a mixture of 2 different other lore books, or just 6 spells from different lore books would be cool, something to bring some new magic to the Greenskins roster. They also mentioned a pretty big change to my boy Wurzag, who since Warhammer 1 has always resided in the Badlands. Well, he's going to be moving to Cathay, apparently, which I'm not sure how I feel about. I like the idea of having a fresh experience with one of my favourite characters somewhere else, but I'm going to miss the good old classic Warhammer 1 Badlands experience. But yeah, we'll have to see how that campaign is. Apparently it's lore appropriate to some extent that he's over there, so it's not just like they're putting him in a random place. But apart from that one thing, as a Greenskins main fanboy, I'm pretty excited for this new stuff that's coming for them. And then moving on to the Ogre Kingdoms, we learn about Golfag Man-Eater's mechanics. Again, here's the dev.
For the first time in Warhammer 3, we're trying to create a faction that plays like a mercenary, so you will work for other factions. So in his new feature, Goldfag's Contracts, you can, let's say Carl Franz is having some trouble with Vlad and he offers you a job, you can take on all his wars and go, okay, I'll work for you, Carl. If you beat up Vlad and maybe Dreit just causing trouble, or Kemmler as well, if you do enough good job for him, beat up his enemies, maybe gift some of the settlements to him, you can fulfill your contract, and Carl will give you a nice big juicy payday at the end of that. So yeah, and we've even tried to keep it like, you're a neutral party, you're just a mercenary. So a lot of the diplomacy that comes with beating up Vlad will actually get passed on to Carl. Like, he's the one that hired you. It's not Golfag's fault that he's doing a good job. So at the end of that contract, maybe Vlad says, could you work for me instead and take on Carl next? So we've created this new experience where he does kind of roam the world, taking on the jobs and beating up anyone he fancies.
So that's Golfag's mechanic, a mercenary faction. This sounds absolutely great in my opinion. The idea of being able to freely travel wherever you want in the world and just working with whichever faction you like sounds absolutely wunderbar. Obviously, I'm going to be taking all the contracts that allow me to kill elves, but I do wonder whether there'll be like a horde where they are just able to free roam around where they want, or whether they will need to hold settlements and actually stay kind of in one area, depending, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And to nobody's surprise, the unit they talked about for the Ogres is the Yetis, the big hairy boys, which is a very cool unit to think about and to see. I'm sure it'll be great, but whether it really offers anything that new to the Ogre Kingdom's roster that already has a lot of big kind of hairy boys, I don't know. We'll have to see. They did mention they'd be more kind of defensive perhaps than, say, Gorges, who are more aggressive. They're going to have a debuffing aura, which I imagine will give Frostbite, which is less speed, which is kind of useless when you're in battle, but I guess, I don't know, it's something. But we'll see, maybe they'll have something slightly different from the usual Frostbite kind of aura. And no, this footage you're seeing here isn't the official Yeti stuff, this is just the Are You Yeti mod. So if you really can't wait for the Yetis, you've got this for now. And then they went on to talk about Skulltaker for Khorne, who I'm maybe a little bit less excited about. The way they described his mechanic didn't make it sound terribly exciting. Basically, he can go around killing legendary lords and then taking some of their power. What that really means, I don't know. It kind of sounds like what every lord does anyway, right? When you're the player, you go around, you fight legendary lords, you kill them, you get their defeat trait, but he'll be even stronger than everyone else gets. I don't know. We'll have to see. Two things that could make his campaign very exciting though. Number one, if he has the ability to kind of fast travel around the map anywhere he wants, hunting down a certain lord, that could be great. A lot of factions now get some kind of fast travel mechanic to move around the map a lot quicker other than just sea lanes, so something like that for him could be really cool. And the second thing that could make him really different is if he actually has the ability to kill off legendary lords. So once he kills them, they don't come back because, you know, if he's got their skull on his new little cape, they shouldn't be running around anymore. So if Skulltaker can cause legendary lord permadeath, that would be interesting. As for new units, they talked about 2 legendary heroes that Khorne will be getting, Skylar Anfingrim, who's apparently a chaos spawn that looks kind of gorilla-ish, so no doubt a melee powerhouse, and Scar Bloodwrath, who is a big boy. I honestly have no idea. Everything in Khorne's army just looks like a melee powerhouse that wants to punch you in the face, so I don't know. I won't pretend to know anything about the lore, so by all means fill me in the comments if you wish. Overall, though, some very cool stuff coming in this DLC. I'm looking forward to the Greenskins especially, the Ogres quite a bit, and Khorne, well, we'll see what they do with that mechanic. They also talked about some of the future updates and what to maybe expect from that. One thing they mentioned was a Bretonnia update, so all you French lovers, you need to rethink your lives, to be honest. But if you are one of those Bretonnia enjoyers, I'm sure you'll look forward to that. Some changes to the Green Knight and things they mentioned as well. Another faction they mentioned to give some love to was Kislev, which is actually a faction I kind of forgot about in my recent 5 factions that need updating video. They are actually kind of bad. Their campaigns kind of suck. Kostalton especially is a really hard, pretty rubbish campaign, to be honest. Their army is in a pretty good place overall, but yeah, their campaigns certainly could use some love. They also mentioned some changes to auxiliaries and how those work. They didn't really give any details, so who knows, but some changes coming apparently. And also they talked about how they want to bring back the Chaos Invasion, because that's what players want. We did used to enjoy, well, some people probably enjoyed the Chaos Invasion, others maybe not so much. But yeah, I think that would be a cool thing to come back into the campaign, even if it's like a toggleable option, so you can choose to have the Chaos Invasion on. How that would work with Archaon and Kolek being in their own separate start positions and stuff, I don't know how that would work now, or who else needs to be there. But yeah, some cool potential with that. They did also mention how they want to move forward heavily on player feedback, so what people want to see. So yeah, if you're looking for a certain thing, maybe start talking about it. Maybe start going into the forums, the Discord, any other feedback avenue. Give them some constructive ideas on what you'd like to see. And who knows, maybe if enough people want it, it will eventually end up in the game. So I think that's a really good move. And that, along with these informative videos, keeping us in the loop, is going to help rebuild that trust with the community that they lost so very badly last year. But yeah, there we go. I've rambled on. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the future.
Your choices will decide the fate of this world. And all that inhabit it. Make the right one.